post-lunch. Hopefully you enjoyed your food. So I'll give you a little bit of introduction to decentralized finance and crypto custody. My name is Alex Batlin. I'm founder and CEO of Trustology. So thank you for pronouncing that well. Appreciate that. And Trustology is developing TrustVault. And TrustVault is a custodial wallet platform for crypto assets and decentralized finance. It is there to really accelerate the crypto economy. And it is my belief that we are in the throes of the third cryptolution. Yes, I've just made that term up. The very first cryptolution that I believe happened around about 2008 was the invention of Bitcoin. An amazing invention that allowed us to transfer virtual currencies in a decentralized manner. But then people said, you know what, I want to have something, another token. And we were witnessing the explosion of altcoins. But it turns out it's actually pretty hard to create many different networks. So the second cryptolution was really the emergence of Ethereum and other smart contract platforms. They really reduced the cost of issuing new tokens, whether that token is a utility token, a commodity token, a security token, stable coin, non-fungible token. It made it a lot cheaper. And we've then seen an explosion of those tokens on platforms like Ethereum, EOS, and others. But of course, no economy is complete if all you can do is issue tokens and simply transfer them. That's just not enough. You need to be able to lend tokens, you need to be able to borrow them, you need to be able to hedge your risk. And initially we saw the emergence of centralized services to complement the decentralized assets. But of course then you're not really removing many of the risks inherent with centralization, and therefore you're not really fully taking advantage of all the benefits decentralization gives you. So now we're in the throes of the third cryptolution, and that third cryptolution is decentralized finance. And really decentralized finance is a cool term, or DeFi, that talks about an ecosystem of financial applications based on blockchain. So not only are we looking at creating assets on the blockchain and transferring them, but also performing all the other financial interactions that we'd expect in the current economy, but also on the decentralized finance economy. So what are some of the examples of DeFi? Well, stablecoins is one of those. And actually, I personally kind of think the fiat-backed stablecoins are okay, but the really interesting ones are the algorithmic ones like MakerDAO that use CDPs, collateral debt positions, to issue new DAI. It's a form of lending and emitting DAI as a result of that. Lending and borrowing, or compound finance, and many others that allow you to earn an interest essentially, or borrow assets in a decentralized manner. Decentralized exchanges like TigerSwap, AirSwap, Zero Export Call, and others. And then finally, the more complex asset classes like derivatives and prediction markets, Boomer Project, and many others come to mind. So, once you start looking at this ecosystem, let's contrast and compare it to the existing financial ecosystem. And try not to read all the slides in there because there are quite a few boxes. And the reason there are quite a few boxes is because the current system requires many different participants in the financial markets to work together. You need a security depositories, you need clearing houses, you need central banks, you need broker-dealers, you need exchanges, you need transfer agents, and many, many other players. And each one of those participants has to be able to interact with all the other ones, so there's a huge amount of implementation required and a lot of complexity and slowness. And that actually gets even worse when you have to do this internationally, because this entire stack needs to be not just synchronized across the stack, but also integrated with other stacks in other countries. Most securities are issued at least in 5 locations, so this is 5x problem. Once you have 5x the problem with 10x different participants, that's a huge amount of creativity that we need to manage. So, what can we do about it? How come DeFi came along? Well, Actually, when I started writing smart contracts back at UBS, when I ran the UBS Innovation Lab, we initially bundled all the logic into the smart bond asset class itself. So the logic of issuance, transfer, atomic swaps or exchange, and also rules of ownership on the account were all bundled into the one asset class. But then we started learning, and we figured out if we unbundle the business logic, because the account rules are different depending on who owns it. If I'm the sole owner of the asset class, I don't need any controls of me. On the other hand, if I'm an asset manager, then my investors want to make sure I don't steal the money. So we have multi-sig controls. So depending on who owns something, depends on who's allowed to manage the account, the logic there. Unbundled from exchange law. Because what you can be doing is determining different swaps depending on the conditions of the market and the participants as well. And then there's the asset itself. So once you start breaking down the logic, you realize that the complex number of participants in centralized finance, yes, I just did make this up, C5, thank you, can now be broken down not into different participants, but into different smart contracts participating on this one single blockchain, removing the need for complex reconciliation. And that reconciliation typically happens at a 24-hour batch cycle or worse. Here, we're doing it block cycles, 20 seconds, and that's pretty amazing. Cool. So, with all of this in mind, what can we do? In fact, there's over 100 DeFi projects out there. I was in London last week. We had a DeFi summit there, and quite a few of these projects were present there. And it ranges from lending through to exotic stuff like indexing and so on. So really exciting set of projects. If you just Google 100 top DeFi apps, you'll see a whole list of those. Actually, if you want to get educated about financial engineering, I suggest you read this white paper. It's pretty amazing stuff. So what are the benefits? Why are we moving towards DeFi? Why not CeFi? Well, actually, speed is one of the key things. Now, you'll say, he's gone mad. The speed is like 12 transactions per second. That's not the speed I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the speed to create a new type of asset class. Today, if you use conventional rails, if you introduce a new asset class, you have to convince the entire array of market participants to collaborate on that asset class. And you have to do the same for every geography. With smart contracts and blockchain, we can issue internationally assets, technically speaking, there's always legal and regulatory issues. Technically speaking, we can issue it in months, not years. And that's incredible. We can speed up innovation on asset classes and financial engineering considerably. The other advantage is transparency. In fact, after the 2007 financial crisis, the G20 convened and asked the Financial Stability Board to advise how can we avoid the next crash. And transparency and resiliency were two key recommendations. Well, you get a huge amount of transparency in blockchain if all the operations are performed as smart contracts. You can now prove that you're not front-running trades. You can prove that you are not lending assets under custody and so on. And then finally, resiliency. Actually, resilience is really important. I'm not talking about just resilience of the database due to the replicating nature of blockchain. I'm talking about resiliency against central agents, whether they're failing or those central agents monopolizing their position and actually preventing access to participants. We've seen it time and time again. Centralized agents can weaponize their monopoly against potential participants. And if you're starting a new business, do you want to start your business relying on a central platform that can check you off at any time, or do you want to create a business that uses a decentralized platform where it's impossible to be removed from? So if you buy into all of this, by the way, this is still an experiment, we don't know if it'll work, then there might be some number of really interesting consequences. One is what I talk about, mass customization of trust. Today's cost of creating new assets is huge. It takes years. So what we only get to see is really mass-produced trust. Small number of asset classes managed globally in huge volumes. But with the decreased cost and time with which we can now issue new assets on blockchain, we're bringing the cost down to of customized services to be close to mass-produced ones. So we can now start addressing niche use cases of trust, or what I call the long tail of trust. And once we start addressing the long tail of trust, which has been largely ignored, we can create new wealth. How? Well, we've proven that whenever you introduce financial tooling to areas where there's lack of trust at a price point that's economically viable, you increase the velocity of trade, which pretty much always generates new wealth. And I think that's pretty exciting and worthwhile goal to pursue. The other kind of potential side impact here, which I think has been underexplored, is the potential for massive increased efficiency for large infrastructures. What do I mean by that? Traditional businesses, or as people sometimes call them, pipe businesses, that can only take in the resources they can afford, your employees, commodities that they purchase, and so on, and add value to that. Then we've seen the emergence of platform businesses, centralized ones like Uber. Uber is much more efficient. Why? Because they can effectively create value, not with just resources they own and control, but all the resources of the entire ecosystem. All the drivers out there willing to drive for Uber add to its value. Therefore, they increase efficiency by spreading the economies of scale on a much grander scale, the entire ecosystem. Problem with centralized solutions like that is that the people who generate most of the network effect value, the drivers, actually never get compensated. The platform collects most of the rent. So what happens? People come in and go, well, we'll compete against it. So you've got Lyft. But as soon as Lyft enters this, you now are fragmenting the ecosystem of drivers. Once you do that, the efficiencies you gain, the huge economies of scale, are now fragmented too. On the other hand, if you have utility token-based solutions, which provide fair reward for participation, fairer than the existing securities or equities-based models of normal companies, there may be a situation where you don't see competition emerging, and you actually have a platform that addresses the entire ecosystem, therefore looking at the biggest bang for buck in terms of efficiency. And as a result of this, we now see that the once very complex centralized finance ecosystem gets reduced down to a much simpler one with predominantly kind of decentralized financial applications. That's something you love. I believe there's always going to be mix, and I don't think we should be purists about it. But there are many advantages to centralization. There's another really interesting observation, if you kind of follow this thought path. And that is, when I used to work at UBS and at BNY Mellon, we always talked about the future digital bank. And that future digital bank always looked a little bit like the old bank, with just a fewer number of people and a lot more technology. But if you follow this train of thought, actually the future digital bank may not be a digital bank at all. It may be a collection of financial applications accessible through your wallet. The wallet becomes the distribution channel. And that's a really interesting observation, and potentially starts to kind of put a real twist on how we think of finance. So to give you a little example, because it's all easy to talk theory, but what can you do today with the existing decentralized finance tools? Let's take a very simple example. Let's say I want to go long on Ether. I believe it'll go up in value. I don't want to sell Ether, but I do want to earn an interest on that. So what I can do is create a collateralized debt position. So I'll take $150 worth of Ether, collateralize that, to mint $100 worth of DAI. DAI being a stable coin roughly pegged to the dollar. Great. What can I do with that later? Well, I can take that DAI and I can put that DAI into compound finance lending pool and earn roughly 10% interest on that. So after a year, now I've got 10% interest worth of, on top of the $100 of DAI, but also if it has increased in value, I've also now got the increase in value on the ETH. So I've double dipped, both by going long on ETH as well as getting compound finance interest in DAI. And that's just a really simple example of financial engineering using decentralized finance. But as always, there are challenges. This is a beautiful vision, and we kind of have to have a beautiful vision, because otherwise it's very difficult to get excited and get out of bed and do all the hard work we do. Regulation is an ever-present issue, because many of these asset classes within most jurisdictions are subject to KYC and AML, whilst most DeFi apps don't support that. So we need to figure out a way how we do that. And similarly, the other challenge is heterogeneity. What do I mean by that? The current centralized finance is based on a small number of asset classes, and it also means that it's pretty easy to create services for a small number of asset classes. With an almost infinite number of asset classes on blockchain, you have to think about doing custody and everything else in a very different way. So, what does the future of custody look like? One of them, I believe, that wallets, for now, this may change, may be the natural point at which you do KYC and AML. In fact, in Europe, that's exactly what we've seen the emergence of. Fifth AML directive for the European Union talks about custodial wallet providers that are responsible for KYC and AML. But actually, once you've done the KYC, then you can use those credentials, essentially, on any smart contract out there on the blockchain. Next, we need to think about re-signing transactions. So adopting the patterns of dApps. The custodian no longer is fully creating all the transactions. You separate out the web app, the UI logic, you separate the business logic on the blockchain, and then signing by the custodian. And last but not least, programmability. Since we're now going to get an abundance of new asset classes, traditional custodians rely on a small number of asset classes, and you know what the controls that the custodian is meant to support on this is. But with an infinite number of asset classes, the custody conditions are going to be almost infinite. So a fixed business logic custodian will no longer work because there will be a massive constraint to scalability. So there's a need for programmable custodians which execute user-defined controls autonomously. So I think that's kind of the emerging patterns that we certainly adopted for Trustful. So what does that look like? Well, we started working on an integration with MetaMask. So MetaMask is a really popular, probably the most popular DeFi wallet. It's a plugin to your Chrome web browser. So when you go onto a website, let's say the CDP portal for MakeItDAO, that website, the JavaScript running on the website, is responsible for creating the transaction. So you're unbundling the transaction creation to the web app. It then prompts MetaMask to sign the transaction. Once MetaMask signs the transaction, that transaction is submitted to the blockchain. So the business logic is done on the blockchain as well as data storage. So what we've done is we integrate with MetaMask by simply injecting a new option to connect to Trustful. Once you click that button, what you'll end up seeing is your Trustful credentials, login credentials. When you start using Trustful, we'll ask you to put in your credentials, do KYC on you, and this is where you log in. Once you log in, you go to your favorite app, in this case the CDP for MakeItDAO portal, and you can start your transaction as normal. You're going to be putting some ETH into collateralized debt position. Once you've done that, you press the button to submit that transaction, and what you do is you get a pop-up on your iPhone saying, please sign this transaction. You open your app, in our case Trustful, you see that transaction, you sign it with your keys in the phone, and then that's sent to our data center where our custom firmware re-signs the transaction. performs KYC or AML, and then completes the transaction for you. And that's it. That's the magic works. If anyone's interested to find out more, want a demo of it, please give me a shout. Thank you so much.